Hey guys, this is video 2.2. We're going to start our beginning process of counting subatomic particles. So one thing I just want to point out, guys, subatomic is that term we use for particles that are smaller or make up atoms. Alright, and these things would include protons, neutrons, and electrons, which we're going to discuss here in this video. So just some kind of vocab, guys. If you look on your periodic table, this shows this to you already, a lot of them. Okay, so it's not anything you have to memorize, you just got to be familiar with. So the top left number is the atomic mass, okay, which is the average of all the isotopes. It's the average mass of all isotopes. So again, if you haven't done your vocab, it's in your best interest to make sure you get that done. It's a lot of new terminology. Over here on the right, we have these things called oxidation numbers. Okay, and we will talk more about these later on this school year. We'll use them quite a bit. These are possible charges an atom of an element can have. The bottom left number is called the atomic number, all right, which equals the number of protons in every atom of the element. Okay, never changes. The only way you can change the number of protons, guys, is by changing the element. The number right below that, it's got some dashes. You can see some are longer and some are shorter. These are called electron configurations. We will talk more in depth later in this unit about these. Basically, it's telling us the number of electrons in each energy level. Okay. If we add the numbers together to get the total. And then the last arrow here, guys, is showing the element symbol. You should be very, very well of this. All right, you've had a few quizzes already. That's how we identify what element we have. Okay. So, nucleons. Nucleons, guys. So think about what's in the nucleus. That's the way to remember it. So these would be protons and neutrons. They are the only particles, only subatomic particles in the nucleus. That means electrons are not in the nucleus. All right, and that's what this table is going to help us kind of keep track of. So, protons, they have a +1 charge. Their relative mass is 1 AMU. AMU just means atomic mass unit. As we've already said previously, they are located in the nucleus. They've got a couple symbols that you could see. We'll talk about this H symbol later in the year when we get to like acid-base stuff. Most of the time you'll see them kind of written like this. I write them a lot of times, guys, as P+, just as a shorthand way to kind of write proton instead of writing it all out. How do we calculate it? Simple. Look at the atomic number every single time. Protons are the easiest subatomic particle to count. All right, so because you just look at the atomic number from your periodic table. Moving on, neutrons. They sound neutral, hence they have a 0 charge. The symbol I use for neutron is n to the 0. It also has a relative mass of 1 AMU, and it's also found in the nucleus. Sometimes you'll see it written like that as the symbol. It's actually in one of your reference tables. When we get to nuclear stuff, we'll see that. How we figure out this is we will take the mass number and we will subtract out the atomic number. Remember, what does the atomic number mean? It's the number of protons. Okay, number of protons is what we'll subtract out. And the last subatomic particle is the electron. That's the symbol that you will see me use. Its charge is a -1. It has really no mass, guys. It's actually 1 over 1836, like if you put it into a fraction, compared to protons and neutrons, okay? So for our purposes, it's negligible or 0. All right, it is outside the nucleus, hence it's not a nucleon. It's written like this. It's in that same table where you would find the other symbols, which is nuclear chemistry. So, most of the time, the number of protons equals the number of electrons. Though there's a big star to put here, it's in a neutral atom. Okay? We will talk about these things called ions later on. Okay? So, continuing along, we're going to use the information to complete the chart that follows. So really quickly, we need to make a little adjustment here. It's not the number of protons. This should be the mass number. Okay? So that is the sum of the protons and neutrons, since they are the only ones that have mass. Okay? Number of neutrons, to figure out those, we already talked about. We take that mass number, subtract out the atomic number, which is the number of protons. Okay? I'm going to put that in here. Remember, arrow, number, protons. That's what atomic number means. Number of electrons. We're going to take the protons that we already know, and we're going to subtract out a charge. Always, always, always subtract. So if it's a neutral atom, it's going to be the same as the protons. We'll talk more about those charged particles, guys, in the upcoming videos. So don't stress about that right now. Same as protons in neutral atom. Okay. Atomic number. Okay, look at the element symbol. And locate it on the periodic table. Okay, and then step 2, same as the protons. Now, one thing I will say, nuclear charge, guys, that sounds really fancy, okay? But nuclear charge, just think about it. It's the charge in the nucleus. What's the only particle that has a charge in the nucleus? Protons. That's it. Protons. Mass number. Okay, it's the sum, which we already wrote that in there. I don't know why I did that. We're going to switch it up. Okay, we're just going to let this one go. It's all good. Nuclear charge, again, kind of already talked about that. That's the number of protons only. Okay, so whatever you get, the protons equals nuclear charge. So, I've got a couple examples here. I'm going to do 1 or 2 with you guys, and then you guys can try these on your own. So this is kind of the first idea. Okay, symbols can be written a couple ways. They can be written in the nuclear symbol, like this over here, or they can be written in what's called the hyphen notation. Okay, hyphen notation. Make sure you know both. We'll talk about them more. So, if I give you the symbol, you should be able to figure out everything else. Okay, if I give you the protons, you can then figure out the symbol. So if we look here, right, which element is number 15? It has 15 protons, right? Because atomic number and protons are the same. So that is an easy one to fill out here. My atomic number is 15. When I look on the periodic table, that's phosphorus. Okay, so we're dealing with neutral atoms, so that means electrons are also going to be the same as protons. But now the mass number. This is where having this stuff up here helps, right? So my mass number, I'm going to take the sum of protons and neutrons. So that's these guys right here. 15 plus 16 equals 31. I'm going to change my symbol a little bit to show the mass number in it. And then my nuclear charge. If I look up here, right, nuclear charge is just the same as the protons. So then my nuclear symbol would be P. Top left is going to be my mass number, so in this case it's 31. And then my bottom left number is going to be my atomic number. Okay? So I want you guys to go through and fill this in. If you have questions, ask. You can also check my answer keys in class for the correct answers. I'll see you guys later.